Okay, folks, welcome back to Potomac, Maryland. For many of you, this is a familiar radio stack. It's in the main tower of radios, so to put it, here in Potomac. And some of the ones you see there are the NRD 630 by JRC, McKay Dymac DR33, and way on top is the East German EKD 515. And we have some more receivers down below. There's an NRD 515 and NRD 545 R8, Drake R8, and a couple of Kenwood R1000, R2000 radios, and a Sony 6800. But so today we're going to be focusing on a new arrival in the Radio Shack. It's a Cubic R-2411 V/U3. Cubic was a major name in the among the companies that sold to the government, military, commercial market, like Watkins Johnson, the 8711 18A MFP below it, and some other receivers that we know of. So let me zoom in on this Cubic. Again, it's this was a new addition to the Radio Shack, obtained today at the Berryville, Virginia Ham Fest. And as you can see, basically this Cubic R-2411 is basically two radio receivers, one on the left, one on the right, in the space of one rack. So whereas you have the Watkins Johnson, for example, one radio receiver in that kind of space, here the Cubic has one on the left, one on the right, and enables you to tune in a stations independently on both receivers, which are exactly the same. And it's actually quite extraordinary to be able to do that, because you in the same unit you can tune lower or upper sideband, for example, on one, or AM in the other, or sidebands in both, and you can compare the signal, kind of a diversity reception. It is called a dual receiver. Watkins Johnson also made a receiver like this, I believe, and so did other manufacturers. As you can see, this R-2411 is in beautiful condition. The rack face is beautiful. Only a couple of nicks and a couple of marks, the usual marks. It has the front and top and bottom covers. And so let's take a little tour of this radio. I have not read the manual yet for this receiver, so I'm basically going just by instinct from the front controls. One thing I do notice, and I have read about, is that the sidebands have a fixed bandwidth of 3 kilohertz. There's another version of this radio, of this receiver, where you can vary the bandwidths in sideband. But this one has fixed 3 kilohertz in lower and upper sideband. You can vary in CW and AM mode. Alright, fix the ISO there to give you a little better view of this Cubic R-2411. Let me zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to go up to the receiver and see if I can tune around both these receivers for you and show you how it works. So as I said, you have left hand and right hand receiver, and volume controls here, power, local and remote. This receiver was made for remote operation as well. These toggles here, main tuning knob, headphone jacks, and there are also 2 headphone jacks on the back of the receiver, and each receiver also has a separate antenna jack on the back. So I'm basically feeding the left-hand receiver up to a JRC speaker, and the right-hand receiver is going up to a little kind of Bluetooth speaker I have hooked into the radio. So just as an example, here is All India Radio on 9445. It's 8 kilohertz bandwidth. AGC, which is quite flexible and adjustable, is at 0.5. So here's a sample of what All India Radio sounds like here. So I'm going to go down on AM mode, go down in bandwidth. It's still learning how to work this receiver, so bear with me. Again, you have to cancel out. There's bandwidth 0.5138, 0.513, and 8. So there's 3 kilohertz. Now the keypad on this has frequency, BFO, IF, gain, level, dwell, mode, bandwidth, AGC, step. Here's rate, meter, sweep for the memory channels. I believe there are 100 of those. You do have to make a lot of use of this cancel button here there's cancel and enter here, recall and store for the memories. But the cancel button gets you back into FR for frequency tuning mode, which allows you to tune. If you want to enter direct frequency, in frequency mode, you just do it like so. So let's say 11.760. Enter, and there's 1160. We want to go back to frequency. There's 11580. We got a strange noise going on there. Tuning 25 meters. There's Saudi Arabia 11820. So let's test some of the sideband and other modes and see how it sounds. So we're going to go into the modes here. There's CW, and again you can you have 3 and 8.5. You have choices of bandwidth in CW mode. Full choice there. All right, then FSK, I assume that is. Then lower sideband is fixed at 3. Upper sideband and back to AM. About tune up arrested 25 meters. Okay, sorry about that. We're back with a camera mishap. So we were at 11.850 or so, tuning on 25 meters. I'm going to finish tuning 25 meters on the left-hand receiver here, and then I'm going to go to the right receiver and give an example of both working at the same time. Okay, so volume up again.
The mixture into the courgette.
We're tuning on AM mode.
Place the courgette into a deep oven tray.
That sounds like China or Romania. I'm not sure. 11850. Let me go up on the bandwidth here.
Look for about 45 minutes above your heat. At the end, you can sprinkle with fresh parsley. Serve hot, garnishing with sauerkraut.
Saudi Arabia again, 11915. BBC 12095. Tune down 1281180. Here's BBC Singapore fading in 11810. 1189 Anguilla 11775. I've got some pretty bad ignition noise here in Maryland. Came up a few months ago, so it's centered on 25 meters, unfortunately. This is, so far, a very quiet receiver, from what I can tell. Very quiet. All right, so let me do something here. Again, left-hand side receiver. I'm going to go to 11810, Saudi Arabia. I'm going to reduce the bandwidth, 3 kilohertz. Now let's go over to the right-hand side receiver, which is still tuned to All India Radio 9445. So right now you can have on the left Saudi Arabia. Again, same rack, same radio size, but 2 radios. There's Saudi Arabia. All India Radio on the right. And go to Saudi Arabia on the right receiver. Here's Saudi Arabia, 3 kilohertz bandwidth on the left, 8 kilohertz bandwidth on the right. Even out the bandwidths. Right radio. Left radio. I'm going to go to sideband Saudi Arabia. It's a little off frequency, that Saudi frequency. Transmitter's a little off, so you'll hear a little bit of variation from 0 beat. 11820. There's lower sideband on the left radio. And upper sideband on the right. So lower sideband on the left for Saudi. Upper sideband on the right. Quite an amazing flexibility. 2 high-class radios in the same rack space. I've never used something like this before. It's quite impressive. Let's do a little more tuning around. Once again, 9870 is the Saudi frequency. I'll go back to frequency. And I'm going to go to AM mode, which means you have to cancel out. Go back to AM. And then hit frequency again to resume the tuning mode. WRMI 9955. There's WWV 10 megahertz. I was going to have a little fun here. So just as a comparison, I'm going to compare this cubic 2411 with the reception on the JRC NRD 630, one of the rarest radios in the world. Right above it, I did obtain this earlier this year, and it's a beautiful radio, but it does have some, that DSP sound to it in terms of the audio. So let's compare the JRC NRD 630 and the cubic R-2411, which is on a better speaker. So don't ding the JRC radio just because it's on a little Bluetooth speaker behind the radio. So let me get the camera situated here. I'm going to zoom back out. And you should see both receivers. So again, we're going to tune, I've already got the right-hand radio is tuned to Saudi Arabia 11.8 with 8 kilohertz bandwidth, but let me reduce that. Cancel. Bandwidth to 3. Alright, again, that's what the right-hand receiver on the cubic is hearing, and we're going to go up to the JRC. One of the advantages of the NRD 630 over the previous model, the 301A and the 302A receiver, is the addition of this keypad on the NRD 630 for instant frequency selection, in addition to further DSP design in this radio over previous models. All right, we're just going to do some more tuning around here, comparing the left and the right side of the cubic receiver for you. This receiver does have a fan for ventilation on the back. Inside this radio, you can see both receivers. This is a fully loaded, both receivers with all modules filling the cabinet inside. So again, I've just gotten this radio, and I'm going to be doing more research and reading up on its capabilities. But there is a very loud ventilation fan on the back, which makes things a little noisy in the Radio Shack here. All right, so one again here. Let's start with the both receivers tuned to different frequencies right now. On frequency tune, on the left is 10 megahertz using a JRC speaker, which is a lot better than what I have and the other one. I'm sorry, the right side is with an ICOM receiver, and the left side is using a JRC 545 receiver, speaker rather. So again, right side here, tune it up.
Sometimes you get offended.
This time of day, it's about 5 o'clock, so it's 2100 UTC. Getting some decent fade in of stations. Unfortunately, the conditions really suck, as everyone knows. Sunspot levels way down. I do have some noise in the 25 meter band, local noise in the area that I can't identify the location of. But I'll just do some tuning around here. First on the right side here, go back to frequency, Cuba. There's the number station in Cuba. Not quite sure what that station 11610. 11610. Left side of the radio, still tuning around 31 meters. Let's just go directly to back to India. 9445. It's a Sunday here, so Greece is not on the air as early as it usually is on weekdays. Here's Radio Miami International.
A total or partial eclipse of the sun.
And a good test is Canada on 6070, Toronto. Let's go directly there.
And peak at about 1:30.
Whoa, very, very staticky down in the hash. Let's see if there's anything else on 49 meters. Nothing there. I'm going to go up to 15 megahertz. Well, I just actually entered the frequency. It shows you how low in frequency this actually goes. Goes down to, I think the rating is 50 kilohertz and below that with the graded performance, as you see. So let's take this up to medium wave. In fact, let's go there directly. My apologies. Try it again. There's WMAL 630. So you do have to enter some leading zeros to get medium wave. Let's try AM. 900.
This is WCTN, Cabin Jones, Potomac, Maryland.
Local station 950. There's Boston 1030, just beginning to fade in. All right, let's take this up to 15 megahertz and see what that sounds like.
At the zone, 21 hours, 8 minutes.
Cuba 15370. All right, too noisy there. Let's try 13 megahertz.
God's plan of the ages.
Desde América del Sur.
Let's go back to 25 meters.
I'd hate to be against you, that's all I got to say. What am I doing? Pulling the blood.
All right, so just to review, and thanks for your patience, this is my first time connected to a Wellbrook 1530 outside with the Cubic R-2411V, according to the plate here, V3/U. Again, high-level commercial government military communications receiver manufactured by Cubic in California. Must have cost tens of thousands of dollars in its heyday. Now these are available in the high hundreds of dollars, and this one was from the obtained at the Berryville Hamfest in Virginia just today. Again, the great flexibility. You have two highly advanced, highly sensitive, very quiet radios, even though there's a lot of noise here. Two radios, one rack space, left and right, exactly the same. Allows you to tune the same station. Just as a demonstration, that Saudi frequency is kind of tough now, but well, there's 11915. We're going to go into CW, let's just say CW mode. We're using CW 8 kilohertz, and on the right, we're going to do the same. Okay, again, left and right receivers were tuned to Saudi Arabia 11915, currently using CW on the left receiver, 8kc bandwidth, and on the right, a 3 kilohertz bandwidth, also in CW mode. I'm going to go change that. So there you have 3 kilohertz here, 8 kilohertz, CW mode, 11915, and turn the volume up on both. You're able to hear, whether you're hearing headphones, using headphones, or just out of the speaker, what the sound is and compare them in different modes and different bandwidths. One more couple things rather that I discovered about this receiver just before we sign off here on this initial view of this fantastic Cubic radio. There's 11915. If you want to, I currently have that on CW mode at 8 kilohertz. Let me go down to 3 kilohertz. If you go then into BFO, you have BFO control. BFO fine-tune control. And if you want to then go into your IF, if you go into IF bandwidth, in CW mode, you have your IF passband control, just like you have on so many modern receivers. There you go, CW mode, Saudi Arabia, passband control. Very fine. Let's just change the mode. Let's get out of IF. Let's go to lower sideband. You do not, however, have the flexibility of IF passband control when using lower upper sideband. So that's a drawback right there, but in CW mode you definitely do have that flexibility, but not in, cancel out of that, definitely not in the upper lower sidebands. Of course in AM mode in AM mode, also, you don't have the flexibility of the passband tuning. As you can see, it says off in AM mode, which is a little disappointing. Let's see if that changes if I alter the bandwidth. Yeah, it does not. Overall, this is a fantastic receiver. Plural receivers. One on the left, one on the right. Same rack space. Wonderful, wonderful radios. Incredibly quiet from what I can tell so far, even though we have very noisy conditions here in Potomac. We'll go back to frequency. .840. We'll go back down to 9445 just to see how India's doing. Yep, there's All India Radio. Again, All India Radio left side, just as a final demonstration. AM mode. We'll go up to 8 kilohertz bandwidth, and then we're going to go there as well on this side. All India Radio CW mode. Let's go into IF. Let's alter the bandwidth. Go to IF. Go, there's All India Radio, CW mode, 3 kilohertz with the IF passband engaged. And we're going to turn it up on the left side. So there you have just a brief introductory demonstration of this cubic receiver. Again, this is cosmetically in wonderful condition. Zoom out a little bit here so you can see the shack. Wonderful cosmetic condition. LEDs nice and bright. I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of hours this has had, but it doesn't look like it's been overused. Serial number on this is in the 400 range. Again, this is the Cubic R-2411. This particular model is R-2411 V3/U. All right, until next time, see you later from Potomac, Maryland. We'll have some more radio demonstrations for you.